It's a story, an unfortunate one, about a man named Thomas. Thomas was not a man untouched by darkness. The Appalachian woods, with their labyrinth of roots and mists, were his sanctuary from the hell he'd lived through. But tonight they felt more like a living thing, drawing him in to feed on his wounds. From childhood, Thomas bore scars no one could see. His father, a violent man, lost to moonshine and rage, used fists and words with equal cruelty. His mother vanished into herself, the only comfort her silence. Nights spent beneath the kitchen table, listening to boots slam across the creaking floors, marked him, warping his instincts, teaching him to trust no one and nothing. Every escape attempt he came with cost. Foster homes often new dangers. At age 14, Thomas fought through broken ribs, bitter winter cold, and devouring loneliness. Running to the woods behind his childhood home, even when he returned bruised and starved, he never forgot how the forest held him. In branches twisted like his memories, in bitter wind that carried voices only he heard. In his 20s, Thomas used drugs to carve space in his mind for peace. Tonight the pill was a special kind, a shield meant to blunt hallucinations, fend off terror. He never went into the woods without it, remembering too well what happened last time. When he staggered through the green gaze, chased by memories twisted into monstrous shapes, but malice lingered on his skin, infecting every relationship, every lover, every friend. Returned when the darkness in him surged, unpredictable, consuming. Addiction became routine, fostered by pain and memories of belt buckles, broken glass. The pills helped sometimes. Tonight the trees seemed to close tighter than ever, their branches hooking into each other's claws. The darkness pressed against his eyes, swirling with movements, too swift to name. Moss dripped, cold and alive, swelling of rot and ancient secrets. Mist hung between trunks, forcing faces. Faces. His father. His own screaming reflection. 100 fractured memories given form. He walked with practiced caution, forcing down panic. Every snap of twig suggested pursuit. Every gust of wind brought a whisper. Thomas never escaped. He tried to listen, but the woods had been watching him since childhood, memorizing his patterns, his fears. Tonight, they wielded its history as a weapon. The encounter. Two women at the trail's curve looked spectral, pale eyes lit from within. Their skin held the pallor of moonlight, their hair loose and wild. They spoke in half-sung riddles. We know what brings you here. The roots remember. They handed him a cup that steamed with an odd scent, a concoction of forest herbs and something metallic. Thomas's hands shook, memories of forced drinks flooding his mind. When he swallowed, the drug in his system dulled the effect, but fear sharpened the rest. He saw their faces twist, the forest itself seeming to recoil, as if it must change tactics. From the shadows, others emerged, men and women with lanterns, knives, lengths of thin cords. Their faces carried the blankness of ritual, eyes flat and cruel. They moved in a spiral, closing around Thomas as his heart slammed against his ribs. Their signals echoed through the woods, whistles, stone taps, words spoken in old dialect. The language was half wild, half sane. They called him by name, chanting it with glee. Thomas, come home. Thomas, come home to the pain. He ran, his movements jagged and desperate. He remembered the beatings, the basement darkness, how silence never saved him. The forest seemed to remember too, creating dead ends, branch paths, chilling mist blocking his way. Twisted roots caught at his shoes, tripping him, each fall a memory. The belt, the glass, the night he tried to crawl out a window too small for escape. Thomas's panic warped reality. The forest laughed in a distorted echo, brutal voices from the past merging from the present. Every tree wore a face, every bird cry a threat from his father. The group behind him mimicked voices from his childhood, promising suffering, forgiving nothing, confusion from his worst fears warped his mind. Even the moonlight conspired against him, creating sharp shadows shaped like hands reaching for his throat to pick him up. His hands, battered and chemically shielded, could just barely tell real from nightmare. The chase escalated. Thomas scrambled through glitches. Seemed as if time passed, like rocks slowing down as they roll to a flat. It didn't make sense. Everything was slick with his own blood, his own from earlier escapes. He fell into a hollow beneath the tree as rotted as the bones in his closet. His pursuers paused, then circled, the ritual intensity rising. Each step deeper into the woods brought colder air. Frost rimmed the ferns, and the group calls became guttural, feverish. They spoke in the voice of his father, in the pleading of his mother, in the mocking of the cruel foster siblings. Why do you ruin everything? Why do you always run? You belong to the woods. Thomas sobbed, guilt and terror overwhelming, but he forced himself on, driven by primal needs to survive. Near-death experience was coming, and he knew death was far behind. This ritual could not, and he knew not, would be fast. When he reached a stream, his hands were raw, clothes shredded. He staggered over slick rocks, avoiding the group's frantic sweep of flashlights. They were going to catch him. He knew it. The woods urged him back, telling him to just bear the ritual. Every step an assault, thorns throwing blood, stones bruising flesh, fog choking breath. He saw just beyond the final stand of the pines a yellow porch, light shining. Civilization beckoned. The group behind, sensing their closing moments, charge. Thomas burst from the trees, screaming just as the porch illuminated his wrecked form. The farmhouse dog started to bark and his shotgun cocked. At the boundary the woods hold snapped. The group dissolved. Whispers started to fade. Faces erased. But Thomas knew they would wait. The woods never forgave an escape. He would always carry them inside, ready to reclaim him when darkness fell again.